The ascension of Jesus can be a little difficult to understand. Here we've spent weeks making a big deal of the fact that Jesus rose from the dead. He's no longer in the tomb. He's in the flesh. He's eating and he's talking. He's present. He lives. We've made such a big deal of that. And then Jesus, with that glorious resurrected body, ascends into heaven. Why? It kind of feels like he's leaving us after such an important experience. But the readings, and really the faith of the church for the last couple thousand years, really points to maybe three primary reasons. I'm going to comment on one of them. First, he ascends to take his throne. We heard that in the psalm. God mounts his throne to shouts of joy. So Jesus, who is King of the universe, goes to take his throne beside God the Father. And from there, Jesus is King of everything. He can be everywhere at once. Insofar as he allowed himself to be human, he was bound to time and space so long as he was on this earth, right? He was in one person's house at a time, or he couldn't be in all places, or he chose not to be in all places at all times. So by ascending to his throne, he can be omnipresent. The second thing is, he says that unless he ascends, he cannot send us the Holy Spirit, which is what we're going to celebrate next week, the celebration of the Holy Spirit with Pentecost. Then the last thing is, it seems that he ascends so that his disciples will now continue his work. In a way, his portion of the mission is finished, and he's now entrusting it to the hands of his disciples. There's a TV show called Kitchen Nightmares. It is one of the earlier shows of the famous chef Gordon Ramsay, where Gordon Ramsay goes into restaurants that are just falling apart. They're on their last leg. They're desperately in debt. And he shows up and he points out all the problems with the food, the staff, the management style, the decor, everything. They're usually very contentious episodes where he throws around all sorts of mean insults like donut and Muppet. So he's very mean to people in the names that he calls them. But it's interesting how almost always the owners hate it that he's there and that he's helping them. It's a rough learning process. But almost always by the end of the few days of him being there, the restaurant's turned upside down. They're doing really well. They've got some tools now in their tool bag to do a better job. And as he's leaving, many of them wish that he wouldn't leave. They want him there. They need him there, they think. But sometimes he has to reiterate, you can do this on your own. You don't need me. It's interesting. I wonder if the apostles felt something similar as Jesus ascended. He's entrusting to them this huge mission of go preach to all the nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Teach them to observe everything I've commanded you. And that sounds like a really tall order. But in a way, the Lord is distancing himself, and he's saying, look, you can do this. I am giving you what you need. I will be sending you the Holy Spirit who's going to lead you into all truth. He's going to help you to do this. And it's interesting that even though he leaves, his final words, as we heard in that gospel, is that he is still with us to the end of the age. So though he leaves, in a way, he's more present. He is still present. We're still walking and working with the Lord. This remains our task. This wasn't just the task of those apostles as Jesus ascended. This is our task to go and teach all the nations, to baptize, to help others to know the Lord, fall in love with the Lord, give their lives to the Lord. And that's a high calling that every one of us has. But we'll celebrate next week the fact that we've been clothed with the Holy Spirit. We've been given the gifts of the Holy Spirit to do exactly that. The Lord doesn't abandon us in his ascension. In fact, he allows himself to be even more present in our life, and he gives us the graces we need to share in that ministry and to continue that ministry. So today we ask Jesus for the grace of continuing his ministry of making disciples of all people.